welcome back to the Party on Pregame pregame show, the official pregame show of the NFA. Here in the booth, I'm AJ Shock with my partner Andrew Stevenson. And Andrew, what a great slate of games we had for Week 4.
Absolutely. The fact that we just had 2 new players come into it and everything just coincided.
Absolutely. Well, hey, let's jump into some highlights of those games real quick. So our first game we have up was probably the most important game of the week, which was Team Andrew versus Team Leah. And Team Leah was coming into this game trying to prove that she was a bona fide player in this league.
Absolutely. The fact that she grew up with a professional table did not disappoint. She actually came up 3-0 off the bat.
That's right, but then Andrew fired back with a goal and then ends up tying it up 3-3. And they were neck and neck until Team Leah got 2 goalie shots and kind of pulled ahead, but Team Andrew was not out.
Definitely not, because he brought it back up and he actually tied the game for 8-8.
But in the end, Team Leah got the win, proving herself as a bona fide member of the NFA. And the next game we have up is Team Ryan versus Team AJ, and this is always a great rivalry.
Absolutely. These guys have been going neck and neck for, second place now?
That's correct.
Second place. All right, so as we see in the game, AJ goes right off the bat with a 4-0. But then it seems that Ryan ties it up to a 4-4. The game goes neck and neck for a while until Ryan takes the lead and ends up taking the win.
Yep, and you know that one's got to hurt for Team AJ.
Absolutely. All right, and now we have Team AJ versus Team Ian in Week 4.
And what a game that was. We almost made NFA history with this game. Team AJ goes up 9-0. There's never been a shutout in NFA history. He tries to get that last goal in, and Andrew, he just can't do it. He ends up whiffing. Team Ian gets the goal, and he ends up blowing the shutout.
Absolutely. That would have been a monumental thing for Team AJ.
All right, and with other scores around the league, we've seen that Team Andrew did end up getting a win last week against Team Ian, and that was a huge win for him.
Yes, and then Ryan followed up also with a win against Team Ian.
And then Leah versus Ryan, which was a great matchup. Ryan did take the W against Team Leah, and he ends up putting a stop to her win streak, and it's good to see a veteran team get a win.
Yeah, and then we have Team AJ versus Team Leah, and Leah actually got the win on AJ.
So, how about Team Leah coming out in Week 4? I feel like she's the story, Andrew.
She absolutely is. I mean, we always talked about how she grew up with a professional table, and a lot of us actually thought maybe it was just a fluke. Kids grow up with professional tables all the time. I grew up with a pool table, but I suck at pool.
Speaking of exciting to watch, we're looking forward to Week 5. And this Sunday at 3 p.m. in our first primetime live stream matchup on our Facebook page is going to be Team AJ versus Team Leah. Team AJ is trying to get his revenge after taking that L from Team Leah in Week 4.
Absolutely. Yeah, the game between Team Leah and Team AJ that's going to come up for the Week 5, it's definitely going to be a battle for the clout.
And I know AJ is definitely going to be coming into that game, with his first game of that week. He's going to be a little bit nervous. It's hard to shake off that rust. So we'll see who gets that advantage in that game.
All right, and then after that, we're going to have Team Andrew versus Team Ryan, which is also going to be a pretty big game. I know for a fact that Andrew really wants that win, and Ryan's going to definitely still try to defend his sanction.
I think that Team Ryan and Team Andrew is an unsung rivalry. I think that Team AJ, Team Ryan takes that high rivalry status that everybody knows that those two teams hate each other. But, Andrew and Ryan are right there neck and neck. I think those teams really despise each other as well.
Absolutely. I think on a personal note that they actually just hate each other in general, like real life.
And then the loser of that game will not play, and the winner of that game is going to play against Ian on the final live stream game on the Facebook. And we will be switching up our broadcast this week. Instead of unloading all the games on one day, we're actually going to be premiering them on different days of the week. So our Thursday primetime game is going to be Team AJ versus Team Ryan.
And then our Friday primetime game is going to be Team Andrew versus Team AJ.
Then Saturday, we have 2 games. We have our Saturday matinee, which is going to be Andrew versus Leah. Now, that's going to be a great game.
That's going to be one hell of a game.
Is Andrew going to let Leah get another win on him, or is he going to put an end to that?
I have a feeling that Andrew's going to try to play his A game in this one. I think he really does not want to lose to Team Leah.
For a matinee, that's an excellent game, so make sure you tune in for that one. And then our Saturday primetime event is going to be Ryan versus Leah.
Which is going to be a strong game, too, because Leah's really going to want to take that win away from Ryan, because he did get her that first time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are rooting for Team Leah to get one over Ryan.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And then Sunday, for our chill game, we're going to have Team Ian versus Team Andrew, and that's going to be a great matchup as well. Like, we noticed Ian coming out on his last couple games much improved. He had a great game against Team Ryan.
Absolutely, but the determining factor of the Sunday game will actually be between the Andrew versus Ryan game. If Andrew takes the lead, then he's going to be playing Ian, but if Ryan takes the win, he will be playing Ian.
That is a good point. It is stupid of me to assume that one of those two players would win. And speaking of growing the game, we got a new segment for our pregame show called our subscriber count and our followers. Subscriber count and followers.
Yes.
So last week, if you watched our pregame show, we were at 32 followers on Instagram. And Andrew, this week, I'm happy to announce that we're at 58 followers. And what are we at YouTube?
YouTube, I believe we're at 8.
We are at 8 subscribers on YouTube, and we're trying to get to 10 by next week for our pregame show. So only 2 of you watching need to go to our YouTube right now and subscribe. That's not a bad deal.
It's not a hard feat. You can easily do this tomorrow.
And I think that we have a couple awesome giveaways once we get to 100 followers on Instagram.
Ooh, we're not going to talk about that, though.
Thank you guys for joining us. I'm AJ in the booth with my partner Andrew. Thank you guys very much. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and follow us on Instagram for more awesome foosball content.
Good night!